Test 3, 2, 1. Test 3, 2, 1. Test 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. I am Sarah Johansson, and it is Monday, May 8th, and I will now call to order the Wayzata Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Milan Sahoni.
Present.
Linda Cohen.
Here.
Heidi Cater.
Here.
Bonita Lucky. Here. Cheryl Posey.
Here.
Sheila Pryor.
Here.
Chase Anderson.
Here.
Sarah Johansson.
Here. All right. Everyone is here and accounted for. Welcome, everyone. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. The consent agenda items are considered routine in nature and will not be discussed individually unless a citizen or a board member so requests, in which case the items will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed. There is no discussion regarding consent agenda items, and the materials are contained in the packet. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and it's a roll call vote.
Heidi Cater.
Yes.
Bonita Lucky. Yes. Cheryl Posey.
Yes.
Milan Sahoni.
Yes.
Linda Cohen.
Yes.
Sheila Pryor.
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Fantastic. We have an agenda. And before we get started on that agenda, I have a couple of announcements. The first announcements that I have is if you are here this evening and would like to address the board during our audience opportunity to address the board, there are sign-up sheets back in the back, and we ask that even if you notified us that you would be here, that you would fill one of those out and give it to Amy, our support person who is in the black, and we will make sure to try to meet all of those needs. Second of all, on a related and an unrelated note, as this is our May meeting, I do want to express the sincerest appreciation on behalf of the school board and the administration to each one of our teachers. And I know that this evening is a difficult evening here, but in this month of teacher recognition, as well as every month and every day, we greatly value and appreciate the work of our teachers, and we promise to do our best with the funds and the resources that we have to maximize our service to our students. So thank you for that. The first item on our agenda are our recognitions, and so I'll join Dr. Anderson at the podium. We do. I am not even following my agenda. First, I think we have student reports from organizations, and I do think I saw Tanvi, so come on up. Sorry about that.
All right, good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tanvi, and I serve as the Student Body Vice President at Wayzata High School, so I give a monthly report on what's happening at the high school. So what's happening? In May, spring sports are in full swing with sections, meets, and games coming up in the next couple of weeks. The Student Council hosted our first ever drive-in last week, and it was a huge success. We expected about 150 people to attend. We smashed that expected goal. Over 300 people attended. We're super excited because it was our first time running this event, and we know it's going to be a success in the future. We'll maybe even open it up to public instead of just high school students. Prom ticket sales end this week, and we're really looking forward to prom on May 20th. Hamlet was a huge success and closed just last weekend. I went and saw it, and it was phenomenal. I greatly recommend checking out any of our students' plays. We're currently in AP test season, and we had a record number of people sign up to take tests this year, which means that many students at the high school are really challenging themselves and putting themselves out there. So congrats to them for that. We recently held our senior awards and recognition program. 140 seniors were recognized with an award or a scholarship, and this amounted to $93,500 awarded in scholarships to Wayzata High School students. And 23 students achieved the distinction of top 10 status through their weighted or unweighted grade point averages, and they will be graduating at the top of their class academically at Wayzata High School. 30 seniors were considered scholar athletes, having lettered in at least 2 sports and maintaining a minimum GPA of 11.0. Graduation is scheduled for 6:30 on Friday, June 2nd at Target Center, and at this point, I feel like everyone's just kind of waiting for school to end so we can have fun in the summer.
All right. Thank you, Tanvi. Any questions or comments? Of course, I have a couple. First, I'm wondering if the student council ordered the brilliant sunset that happened right as movie night was starting. It was just gorgeous.
Honestly, we were so worried we were going to get rained out. It was a miracle to us that the sun even came out.
Yeah, it really was incredible and so much fun. And the second is I'm acutely aware that our next regular meeting will be on June 8th or 9th or something, and you will be graduating. Is this our last meeting with you?
I think it is.
Well, I would like my board members to join me in a round of applause and appreciation for your joining us every month this year. And we know you're going to do incredible things. So
Thank you.
good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, now recognitions.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our school board meeting tonight. My name is Chase Anderson, and I'm the superintendent for the school district. And it's always my honor and privilege to convene the recognitions portion of our school board meetings. And tonight we have 4 different recognitions, including staff and students. And at this time, I would like to invite Tika Kuti to come forward. Is Tika here? There's Tika. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. And I'm going to read a little script about the recognition and the work that Tika does with our group of students that were participating in the Minnesota Aspirations in Computing Honorees. So if you're a student here to be recognized for that tonight, I would ask that you please join us up here as well. Come on down, don't be shy. Yay. I'm going to share the script, and then I'll turn it over to Tika to share a little bit more and introduce our students that are here with us tonight. 8 Wayzata High School students were recently honored for their exceptional technology skills, interests, and aspirations. The Minnesota Aspirations in Computing program partners with the National Center for Women in Information Technology to promote the National and State Technology Award Program. The honorees were selected from high schools throughout Minnesota by national and state review teams. This year, 91 awards were given to Minnesota students. 8 of them attend Wayzata High School. Congratulations to all of our students for being recognized as 2023 Minnesota Aspirations in Computing Award honorees. That's a mouthful of an award. So congratulations to you. And if you would introduce those with us tonight and share whatever else you'd like to about the program, that'd be great. Thank you and congratulations.
I will keep this short because I promised the students I would, but I just want to add to Chase's fabulous introduction by saying that, as we all are aware, women are underrepresented in the technology and engineering fields, and we see it on a national level, but we also see it at Wayzata High School, where imagine being a 16-year-old girl and walking in and being one of maybe 1 or 2 students out of 32. And these girls do it every single day, and they do it with class and grace, and they are at the top of their class in most cases. So it is my honor to introduce this year's Aspirations in Computing Award. The awards were designed to recognize these students for their contributions and their interests in technology fields. And I'm proud to say that Wayzata High School has had at least 1 girl recognized every year since the award's inception. So that's pretty amazing. So this year's our award winners are Jasmitha Alu, who not only won a state award, but was also recognized nationally. Aditi Eid Puganti, and I just asked her how to pronounce her last name, and I messed it up because I always refer to her as Aditi. So I apologize, Aditi. Brianna Lai. Daria Savryakova. Brittany Wang, who couldn't be here tonight. Anya Kachru. Tanisha Mandal. And last but not least, Neha Nandakumar, who also couldn't be here tonight. Just say congratulations, and it is an honor to be your teacher.
We're going to get a photo, but Does anybody have anything that they would like to say on behalf of the team or the event? Don't all rush to the mic at once. It's okay. You can pass if you want. Is that what I'm hearing? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. I think you want to take a photo out here in front? Again, congratulations. Our next recognition for tonight is for the 2023 National Gold Council of Excellence Award. And I know our Student Council Advisor, Amy Swenson's here, along with a number of the Student Council representatives. So, Amy, if you would join us up here, and anyone being recognized for this fine group, come on down. And, I'll share a little bit about the award, and then give Amy an opportunity to share a little bit more. And any student reps that may want to share a thought or two, we'll provide that opportunity as well. So thanks again for being here tonight. The Wayzata High School Student Council was recently named a 2023 National Gold Council of Excellence Award recipient by the National Student Council organization. The Wayzata High School Student Council was recognized for its exemplary record of leadership, service, and activities that improve the school and the community. The Nat Stuco program is supported by its parent organization, the National Association of Secondary School Principals. Exceptional student councils are a hallmark of exceptional schools, said the NASSP CEO, Ron Nazo. The Wayzata High School Council has taken student leadership to the next level, creating a culture promoting scholarship and citizenship that resonates far beyond their team. I'm delighted to recognize their hard work with the National Gold Council of Excellence Award for the commitment to service, leadership, and uplifting the voices of their peers. And that was a quote, again, from the NASSP CEO. The Wayzata High School Student Council works tirelessly to build community at the high school in a number of ways. Beginning the year with an exceptional homecoming week, the Student Council aimed to build school community and spirit and succeeded with impressive student engagement, hosting over 1,500 students at the homecoming dance. The Student Council also exceeded their goal by raising more than $11,000 in the annual Adopt a Family fundraiser to benefit IOCP and the Children's Hospital of Minnesota. The Student Council listened to the student body and updated or added programming to meet the needs of high school students. This year, the council created new events, including Sip and Study and a Wayzata High School Drive-In. A student council must meet a variety of criteria to earn the prestigious National Council of Excellence Award. In addition to basic requirements such as a written constitution, regular meetings, and a democratic election process, the council must have demonstrated successful sponsorship and participation in activities such as leadership development and service to the school and community. Congratulations to the entire high school student council. And we'll give you a round of applause.
So it is my privilege and honor to work with this talented group of students every single day. And they make me a better teacher, and they make our building a better building. And at this point, I want to turn it over to our student body president, Emma Lephart, and she's going to introduce members of the council.
Good evening. My name is Emma Lephart, and I am the student body president at the high school. I am joined this evening by student council senators Ethan Cordero, Neve Mangal, Netra Kimber, Tarun Gorapati, and Molly Ginther, as well as members of our executive board, Tanvi Goraparty, our senior class vice president, Anna Vollendorf, our senior class secretary, and Marcus Westman, our sophomore class representative. We are here representing the entire Wayzata High School student body and are thrilled to accept this recognition of our award. We are proud, honored, and grateful for the receiving of the National Gold Excellence Award. This is an award that is earned and received through teamwork, and we could not have done it without the help of each other, our advisors Amy Swenson and Sarah Lagerquist, and our high school administrators. Thank you for your time and recognition this evening.
Thank you, Emma, and thanks everybody for being here tonight, and keep up the great work. We know that it takes a lot of leadership at a large high school, and we really appreciate everything that you do for activities and just helping set the tone at the high school. So well done. We're going to get a photo out here. Thank you.
Can we know the makeup of the student council in terms of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade? Are they evenly distributed, or are there more seniors, or I'm interested?
So it begins actually at the beginning of May every year. There are elections for our Senate positions. So similar to our government, we have a House and a Senate. And there are a certain amount of senators that are allotted for each grade. And students run a campaign for about a week and a half and are voted on by the student body to then become a senator. Within the Senate, at the end of every May, we run an executive board election. So from the pool of senators, we then have our executive board, which is your president, your vice president, your secretary, as well as a PR representative, and you have that for your senior and junior class. And then our House joins us in the fall of every school year. They are what we call work-on members, so they come and join us, and they are really the backbone of our Senate. They or of our student council. They give us the ripple effect in what reaches our whole school community. This year, I believe we have over 150 members of the House and 38 senators.
Thank you.
Thank you. They are right now. Yes. Thank you.
Our next recognition this evening is for our Employee of the Month. And I would like to invite Stacy Lasser to please come forward. And anybody else you might want to bring up with you, but see you have a team here. I'd like to share the following, offered on behalf of Stacy and her selection as the Employee of the Month. When people think of Stacy Lasser, the first word that comes to mind is humble. Stacy walks through the halls of Wayzata Central Middle School with a high level of humility every day. She is humble when working with students, partnering with colleagues, and when connecting with families. Stacy is a well-respected staff member in our building, and it is because of her approach to the profession. No challenge is too hard for Mrs. Lasser to take on as she exhibits a can-do attitude whenever things get hard. She also is respected by students as well, which most likely comes from her approach as a warm demander. This term refers to an individual who shows a balanced level of care and high expectations for others. This approach allows Mrs. Lasser's students to truly believe that she believes in them and finds them more than capable of accomplishing their academic goals. The work ethic and passionate approach that Stacy exhibits is not only seen by her colleagues in the school's office, but also from staff across the entire building. Here are some specific comments from staff. Stacy is not just a great teacher, but she is an amazing mentor as well. There are so many moments I can think of where Stacy was able to analyze a situation or a lesson and offer a direction that is solution-focused. Because of Stacy, our team has been able to establish clear objectives for students, which has resulted in positive changes to their learning experience. Stacy is an advocate for her students, always trying to provide what they need most. She works to keep her students engaged and excited to learn. Her work with her PLC is inspiring as she makes a Canvas assignment or reads a test aloud that we can all use. She does all of this with grace, humor, and kindness. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one else is watching. This quote accurately describes how Mrs. Lasser has approached her career as a 7th grade science teacher. As you enter her classroom, you can feel her high level of engagement as a passionate instructor. And I might just add on a personal note, Stacy is, to this day, one of my daughter's favorite all-time coaches for the dance team at Wayzata High School. We still talk about you and your work with the team, so thank you. These are just a few of the many reasons Stacy Lasser has been named Wayzata Public Schools May 2023 Employee of the Month. Congratulations.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I'm so grateful to my school for nominating me, but I really do feel like I'm standing here in lieu of all the people who have stood next to me. And so if I could thank a couple people. First, I want to say my most personal thank you is to my parents and my husband and my kids, although they're not standing next to me while I'm in the classroom. All your acts of service, maybe building butterfly cages or making dinners, help me to bring my best self to the classroom, so thank you. Thanks to Dr. Anderson and the board. As a new teacher, your strategic roadmap and the professional development that went along with it helped me guide my teaching and was appreciative. To my colleagues at CMS, I couldn't be more grateful of the time that I've gotten to spend with you. The people both past and present at our school who have shaped me in many ways. And working next to talented and dedicated teachers makes CMS such an inspiring home. A shout out to the peer coach program that has gotten to me to reflect on my teaching on both sides of the table. And I guess most importantly, my students. I've gotten to have over 2,000 students at this point, and they have shown me so much more than I could have ever shown them. They've modeled empathy and humor, resilience and creativity, and I'm proud to get to stand next to them the way others have stood next to me. So thank you so much.
Thanks again, Stacy, and congratulations. And thanks, cheering crowd, for being here tonight to root her on. And our final set of recognitions tonight is to announce the names of those who have indicated their intent to retire at the end of the school year. And they include the following individuals this month. John Brethorst, custodian, Central Services for 26 years. Beth Dahl, paraprofessional, East Middle School, 5 years. Kathy Frankie, paraprofessional, Kimberly Lane, 13 years. Jody Olson, community engagement and partnership, 36 years. And Karen Herring, preschool instructor, 17 years. So we would like to offer them a round of applause and wish them well. Generally, we don't have our retirees coming tonight, but are there any of those folks that I just listed that might happen to be here? Typically, they choose to tune in by television or watch us on YouTube after the fact, but we really appreciate the great work that they've done, and as you heard, they've contributed for a varying number of years, and as all of those who have been with us before and retired, whether it was recently or a long time ago, the foundation that they helped us build continues to exist, and we continue to build this great school district. So thank you so much for being here. That concludes our recognitions for this evening. And all of the students, thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Have a good evening.
So the next item on our agenda is a super fun part of the evening as well, and that is our Student Spotlight presentation. And so I will turn it over to Dana Miller, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to introduce our colleagues from Central Middle School this evening.
Awesome. Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, members of the board. It is my pleasure tonight to welcome Principal Xavier Reed and his staff from Central Middle School. They're here tonight to talk to us. I've got a little bit of a cold going on, I think. They're here tonight to talk to us about their work with My Time in their building, which gives students voice and allows them to extend some of the student learning, enrich the student learning, and connect their own learning to stuff that may not be offered in our core curriculum. We're excited to hear about this and the connection it also makes back to Wayzata High School. So without anything further, I'll welcome Xavier Reed and his team. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Xavier Reed. I am the principal at Wayzata Central Middle School. I know I haven't met everyone in here, but wanted to introduce myself. And I'm here to talk about our school's implementation of My Time this school year. Why do we have My Time? What My Time is really it's an opportunity for students to own their own learning. We want When students are in our building, we want them to be able to find their passions, find things that are important to them, and be able to go after those. Another piece that's really important for us at Central Middle School is community and connections and building relationships. For a middle schooler, having a connection to your teachers, having connection with one another is very important. And so during My Time, they get this opportunity to be able to do that. What is My Time? At its core, My Time is a flexible learning opportunity. It's flexible learning time. In the past, we have had something called Flex in our building and across the district. And really that was a time where there was flexible time within the school day for students to be able to engage in. There could be doing their reading minutes, they could be checking grades, they could be meeting with teachers. And so what My Time really does is takes that time and it gives it a structure. It gives it a structure that we have really worked very hard at to be able to provide our students with. It also provides students the opportunity to continue to grow as individuals and understanding what they need. That's something that we really talk a lot about is students being able to reflect on what they need that week, what they need that day. One day might be different from another day in My Time. And that just depends on the week and the day and what's going on in that student's life. So being able to self-identify for what their needs are in that moment. What My Time does as well is it really increases the student voice and choice in their education. Students each week get a different number of options to choose from in My Time, which I'll talk more about here in the app that we use for students to navigate. But they get a number of different options to choose from. That allows the student to feel like they are in the position of making that choice of what they want to do with their learning that day. Obviously, normally in school, you have your schedule, and once you have your schedule, with your core classes, your on-core classes, there's not a lot of choice that you have outside of that. And especially in middle school compared to, say, high school, you don't have the elective choices. And so this gives students that opportunity to have some more choice in their education in middle school. It allows for our teachers to engage with students in different ways. If you are a teacher and you had a student in 6th grade, there might be an opportunity for you to request a student in that is now in the 8th grade and for you to have a chance to reconnect with them. It also helps with those relationships. Sometimes we can build a strong relationship with the student in one grade, but as they move on, we kind of lose touch. This is a way where we still keep kids connected to adults that who they have connected with in the past. And then we also are really trying to help prepare our students. One of the jobs that we have as middle school educators is really preparing students for that next step in their education career, which is high school and beyond that. And at Wayzata High School, we don't have my time, but they have our time. And so some of these same principles, some of the same values that we share with my time are similar with our time. And so that's something that we talk about as well. So to do this work and to be able to provide our staff with a voice and with ownership of this venture that we went into this summer, we created our My Time team. This team was given the great name, the Positive Ambassadors of My Time, by our own Julie Johnson, our associate principal there in the bottom right corner. And My Time, the acronym for My Time is the PAMS. So they're called the PAMS, and they call themselves that. But they are very positively talking about My Time, being able to explore some of the ins and outs of My Time, talking about where can we be better, where can we make some adjustments, how can we do this differently. And so all of the teachers that are listed above, Amanda Jacobson, Drew Larson, Anna Sanford, Ashley Anderson, Audrey Ryberg, Polly Laugen, and like I said, Julie Johnson are a part of that team. And they meet on a weekly basis to talk through what My Time is looking like. How do students use My Time? Students access My Time through an app called the CMS Hub. And so the Hub is loaded on every student's iPad. It's loaded on all of our staff's computers as well. And so we currently have My Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Mondays and Wednesdays is when students would sign up for My Time. And on those Mondays and Wednesdays, when they sign up for My Time, they get a new list of options that they get a chance to select from. And when we talk with students about what you should be selecting, or we're not making them select certain options, but we are wanting them to reflect on what they should be selecting. And so we want them to reflect on a few of these questions. Do you need help and support from a teacher? Is that something that you need right now? Based on your grades, based on how the last week has gone, is this something that you may need right now? Are you looking for more of a challenge right now? Would an enrichment activity or an extension activity be something that might help you right now? Is there a new exploration option that you would like to explore? Is there something that's a new interest for you that you're kind of getting into? Is that an option? And so these are a few of the questions that we have students reflect on as we want them to really continue to build and take ownership of their learning. The structure that I mentioned that My Time gives Flex is by giving 4 different areas for which our My Time sessions fall into. That is extensions, study boosts, explorer, and recurring session. On the left side with the extensions and study boost is an opportunity really for students to follow up with teachers if they are struggling with the concept, if they need to make up some work, if there's a test that they need to retake. That's what a study boost is for. Extensions is going to be anytime we have a student that wants to go further. There may be a concept in class that they only have 4 weeks that they can cover, and the curriculum can go 6 or 7 weeks. This is going to be an extension opportunity for that teacher to continue to go further in and for that student to go further in as well. Exploring is something new, something different that maybe they haven't done before. And this is a really cool opportunity that students have to be able to do that. And then we also have recurring sessions that come up. These are sessions that may not be every week, but they may be on a monthly basis. They may be on a bi-weekly basis that may come up for students. When we thought about the rolling out of My Time, we realized that it was going to be a new concept for our school. Knowing that we have had Flex in the past, we are now bringing something in that is seen as different and foreign. And so what we really wanted, we wanted to take it slow. And so at the beginning of the school year, we had a very slow start to My Time. We talked about what the purpose of My Time was with students. We talked about that with staff. We started off with having students start off with a My Time schedule, even though we didn't have an actual My Time session the first few weeks of school. But we wanted them to be able to get in the routine of going to a different class or going to a different place, not just going to your first period class. And the way that we had to do it at Central Middle School was that we had My Time scheduled on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We couldn't do it Mondays through Fridays this year, but we had it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so that we wanted to make sure, and we wanted to ensure that we gave students that opportunity to be able to learn that and navigate that. There was also our Trojan Pride is our PBIS model, and that's what we talk about expectations and how do we operate as a school. And so in our Trojan Pride lessons that month, we talked about how do we do My Time, what is My Time, and really working through that. And so we built up to the third week of September where we actually had our first My Time session because we wanted to make sure that there was a lot of intentionality in going into it so that students could really find success in that way. Some of the other examples of what we've been able to do during My Time, we have a group of students right now, which would be under our recurring sessions, and it's called Birchview Buddies. And so because we are in walking distance of Birchview Elementary, we have a group of 8th grade students, I believe 20 to 30 8th grade students that go over to Birchview on a regular basis to go and mentor 4th, 5th, and 6th graders at Birchview Elementary. This is a really cool opportunity that our students have. In the photos above, we were able to do a Black History Month panel and bring in professionals from around the area. Some of the professionals that we were able to bring in, Leah B. Olson from the Minnesota Timberwolves. If anybody watches the Timberwolves or Lynx, she is a broadcast commentator for the Lynx. Tony Santa from the Santa Foundation came, also a former professional soccer player. And then our own Ashley Farrington, Birchview Elementary's principal, was able to come in as well. And so students packed the auditorium and were able to hear their stories, hear their journeys, and were able to engage with them. The picture that's in the middle there is my favorite session, and it's called Booking and Biking. And that's with Mr. Schultz, one of our Phi Ed teachers. And so students are literally on bikes, and they're reading books, and they're booking and biking. And so it's a lot of fun for the kids to be able to do that, and just highlighting a few of those sessions. Here's a couple pictures of our Birchview Buddies, some of our students that are over at Birchview working with those elementary students and making those connections early on with our future CMS students that will be coming over. Some of the data, we definitely wanted to be intentional with everything that we did with My Time this year, or doing with My Time this year. And so when we look at the data, this year between November 7th and May 2nd, so roughly most of the year, I think we're missing a couple of weeks there, but we've offered 6,558 different sessions have been offered. When you look at those sessions, students were requested in, so this is teachers requesting students into their session. Students were requested into a study boost session 15,790 times. Now, on the flip side, students can also choose on their own to go into study boost. And so twice that amount, nearly twice that amount, students have requested in to go to their own study boost session on their own. So when we talk about students being able to identify what they need and what they want, this is a really good sign for us because it shows us that there is that level of maturity of students deciding and choosing, hey, I need to go to study boost. I need to go get some more help from my teacher. And so that is something that we saw in our data. We also surveyed students mid-year this year, and some of the results that we got from that was 83% of our students said that my teachers give me frequent feedback that guides my next steps as a learner and my choices during My Time. 88% of students said My Time has had a positive impact on my learning. And then 85% of students have said My Time has helped me grow my own learning and grow into an independent learner. And so when we talk about that next step as our students are moving on to Wayzata High School and they're moving on to college, and that next step, that independence and being able to advocate for themselves, being able to recognize what they need, that's what we're trying to build, and my time is showing us that it's supporting that at this point. So when we look forward and we look at year 2 of my time, I get really excited. I get excited because this year was laying the foundation. There was a lot of work that was put in really all last year. We were really connecting with our principals over at Wayzata West and at the high school who had similar programs that have been established in their buildings. We were doing our own learning and asking questions with our staff. So all last year we were just doing a lot of learning, and this year was actually doing it and laying down the foundation. And so there's a few things that make me excited for next year. One of those things is that next year we're going to be able to have a daily schedule where my time is going to be consistent every day. So we're not going to have to switch on Mondays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was something that was a 1-year trial that we gave, and now we've been able to figure out the schedule so that we can have that consistent. Another thing is that staff and students are both going to have 1 year of my time under their belt. So for our 6th and 7th graders that are going to be 7th and 8th graders next year, they're going to walk in on day 1 and know exactly what they have to do with my time. They're already going to have the app loaded on their iPads. They're going to be ready to go. Our teachers, I believe our teachers, and even just going through this year and being in conversations in PLCs, in our leadership meetings, different spaces, starting to see their imaginations of how we can use this and how we can continue to leverage this and build on this has been really cool for us to listen to and be able to hear about. So I'm really excited about what that looks like for staff as well. And that's really where the higher level of comfort becomes, we'll see more creativity with that. So really looking forward to year 2 of my time at CMS. And that is all that I had for my presentation on the implementation of my time, and I'm open for any questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Principal Reed. That was super helpful and really informative. I'm sure my board colleagues have some questions or comments. Bonita.
Thank you so much, Principal Reed. Thank you for explaining the difference between the flexible time and the scheduled time. So I really do appreciate that. And you may have said this, and I could have missed it, but does the students have an option whether or not they're in my time or opt out of my time?
No, all students are in my time. They have an option of what types of session they want to go to. So between the 4 different areas that we have, they choose from one of those 4, from a session that would be flagged as one of those 4 areas.
Okay. And then,
Go ahead. Yep.
and then the other thing I had was really appreciate the Birchview Buddies and the added student voice, wonderful, and celebrating Black History Month. That was really, really great. Was this your first year celebrating Black History Month, or have you done it?
We've done that in the past. We've celebrated, all of our months that we have, our Native American History Month, and
Nice.
But this was the first time we've had a panel like that, where we had, several professionals come in. We had 2 different days. I believe there was a total of 8 or 9 different professionals that took their time out of their day, their busy schedule, and came in and spoke in front of students. And so it was just a conversation style on our stage, and I believe kids walked away with a lot of great information and perspective.
Nice. And by chance, can anybody on the school board do the booking and biking?
Come on over any Tuesday and Thursday. Mr. Schultz will have you in there. You bring your book. Yep.
Thank you.
Heidi.
Quick question. Nice to see you,
Yes,
Mr.
good to
Reed.
see
How long is my time out of their day?
So my time right now is 27 minutes. So we have 2 different sessions, and they're both 27 minutes with a 3-minute passing time. So from 9:10 to 10:10 is where my time covers right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. And then I have one more question, if that's okay. Have you felt a change or an improvement in achievement because of my time?
I think so. I think the change and improvement and achievement, I would say, is students understanding who they are and what they need. And I think that that's really important for our next generation, just as they come through, because those skills are very, very important for success. Being able to advocate, being able to self-identify when maybe I'm struggling with something, goes deeper than academics. It goes into SEL. It goes into just how I'm feeling personally. And so, one of the things that we talked about just with the pandemic has been that, sometimes what students have needed is just more physical activity because they've been inside, they've been sitting down so much. And so that's why we have some different activities where that's encompassed as well. But as you can see, there's been a good balance of both, being able to go, when I need that study boost support, I need that extension support, but then also balancing that with, I need to move a little bit today. That's going to help me out. That's going to help me be a better student.
Thank you. Milland.
Oh, thank you, Principal Reed. I wish this program would have been there when my children went to Central Middle School. I don't think they've had that, but I think Heidi probably asked one of the questions I had is how do you measure success? I know this is a program in its infancy, obviously, but eventually will this reflect in their grades, in their behavior, in their confidence level?
Yeah,
all of the above.
I think that you can look at different measurements to be able to look at that. I do think that what we're doing with we have another student survey. We're going to do the end of the year student survey here later on this week to be able to gather some more feedback on how they're feeling about my time specifically. You can point to other, whether that is how students are doing academically, how they're doing personally, what they're coming in, to our space in the office and sharing with us. I think there's a lot of just, data you can get just by talking to kids and being able to fill that out. So there's a number of ways I feel like.
And Bonita asked you if we would, we would be invited for one of those My Time schedules. I actually was invited on a personal level for the cricket matches that apparently Kiran, your equity leader in your school, she messaged me a couple of days ago because I'm very involved in the cricket community in Plymouth. So she asked me if I could join and help this out. So, yeah, I'm already ahead of everybody else right now.
Yeah, you got to step ahead of everybody. So, yeah, we'd love to have you come over and play some cricket, watch some cricket. And that's, for our building, that is something that I know is a very popular sport for a lot of our students. And it's reflective of who we are. And so I'm excited that we're going to be able to do that this year.
Thank you.
Sharon.
I thank you for coming here and sharing all this with us. Just to follow up on Heidi's question, you said it's 2 sessions. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays this year, a student can choose 2 different activities, or can they choose to stay in the same room if they really need a lot of help with science or whatever?
Yeah. So there's a lot of flexibility with it. So like, for instance, when we did the panels in the auditorium, we just made it a full hour session because we didn't want students to get up and leave. And teachers can do that as well in their classroom. So if they have something, they're engaging in an extension and the purpose of the extension is to go further, they can have a bigger chunk of time to be able to do that. If it is something that can be shorter, like the study boost, if I just need to go and take a test, then it's 27 minutes and then they can go and choose a different session. So, if you're a student that, you need to go, you got to make sure that you go in and make up that work, or you need to meet with that teacher. You can do that and still go and do something that maybe you'd rather do, different. So.
Well, it sounds great. It's very flexible so that it can be individual.
There's a lot of flexibility in it.
Thank you.
Sheila.
Hi, thank you. I just want to say I love My Time. I have 3 kids, and one's in high school now, and 2 are at West, and I know they have a similar program there, and it's been really great. So I'm so happy to see this. I was wondering, is there an opportunity for student voice in like choosing topics that they want to request, or to have clubs, or even do some kind of student-led presentations? Is that something they do? Or
Yeah. So we definitely have students that have, that kind of builds on that creativity piece. I think now we're to the point where students are starting to figure out, like, I can actually propose a session, and if I get an adult to help me run it, then we can do it. And so we're starting to get more of those requests coming in. I'm wondering next year if that's going to be more of a bigger thing. But I've had students, there was some students that had requested and had put together like a play. They had written a play and wanted to do that. There's been students that have approached other teachers of, coming up with a reoccurring session that they could be able to. I think the cricket idea is coming from students as well. So there's definitely that opportunity for students to be able to create their own sessions too.
Hearing none, well, I'll just say thank you for this, and I love the alignment as we think about the getting ready for the high school and how to navigate the hub and the My Time, as well as the going back to Birchview and making those connections. You are the one in the middle, and this is a perfect example of how we're meeting our kids developmentally and bringing them along. So thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And thank you to the rest of the Central Middle School staff who are here as well. We know that this is a team effort, so thank you so much for all that you do for our students as well. So the next portion of our agenda will be the audience opportunity to address the board. So I will say again, if you are here to address the school board this evening and you have not filled out a speaker request form, that looks something like this. They are back on the table, and then we will, and I will call you up. I have a few comments about this portion of our agenda. Please remember that this section of the agenda provides an opportunity for members of the community to address the school board. Speakers who wish to provide input, we said that already. And when you're invited to the podium, please identify your subject and the agenda items to which your comments pertain. Please remember that the school board, it is not school board practice to engage in any conversation or comments around the topic. Instead, it allows us as a board to listen to our speaker and to take note of what is being shared. We do ask that you present your comments in a respectful and professional manner. The board cannot make comments around staffing issues or due process or privacy or anything related to personnel issues. And this evening, each speaker will be invited to the podium for a maximum of 3 minutes. We do have a number of requested speakers this evening, so we ask that you keep that in mind. Amy will help us keep track of that time, and so you might see a little red card when we hit the 3-minute mark. In conclusion, I just want a reminder that this is a chance for us to listen. We thank you for sharing your evening with us. I'm going to look through and just make sure we don't have any students, because we prioritize student speaking first, and then I will just go through my list. So I do not see any students, so we will go parents. All right, here we go. Rachel Felkowski.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Felkowski. I am actually a district teacher. I've taught first grade at Kimberly Lane Elementary for 18 years. But I am also a district parent. I have 3 boys that attend Wayzata schools and have been in Wayzata schools all since the age of 4. They all attended Bright Start preschools. 2 are currently at the high school, and 1 is in 5th grade at Oakwood Elementary. I am here tonight to address the board to voice my concern and disappointment at how the district has handled some employee ULA or unrequested leaves of absences. These staff members were not displaced or moved to other buildings or positions. They were put on unrequested leave of absence, which is essentially a nice way of saying laid off or losing their jobs. Teachers and the Wayzata district, like all public schools, have always operated under the tenure system, as well as teachers having a seniority list. With the district cost containment, teachers were not only displaced from positions, but some lost their jobs altogether. What is troubling to me is that Wayzata chose to keep probationary, non-tenured teachers in positions while laying off senior tenured staff, even though our contract language seems to be clear to me on this issue. On page 31, section 9.4 in the Wayzata Teacher Education Association teacher contract, in section 9.4, it states, the employer may place teachers on unrequested leave of absence for the reasons authorized by MS 122A.4. Continuing contract teachers placed on unrequested leave of absence shall be done in inverse order of seniority within the licensure. Despite this language, a staff member who is on number 123 on the staff seniority list was placed on a ULA. She was told it was because she is only in a .8 position. She's been requesting for the past 6 years to be placed back at a 1.0 FTE status. She was previously in a 1.0 position in the district. Her previous supervisor had even put in a request for her to be placed back at a 1.0 FTE on 2 different occasions within the past several years, for her only to be told that due to COVID and cost measures, it had to be put on hold. Despite being promised it would eventually happen, she was told on March 30th, 2023, she would no longer have any position with Wayzata Schools. It also states on page 32 in the Wayzata Education Association teacher contract, a teacher may bump into any open position or a position held by probationary staff for which they have licensure regardless of recent experience. My understanding is that there is another teacher who is second on the teacher seniority list in the entire district, meaning number 2 on the seniority list, that lost her job. While my understanding is that this teacher has since been rehired into a full-time position, she did have to interview for this position. After working in this district for over 30 years, she had to interview while non-tenured probationary teachers kept their job. Again, she was told this was because her position was only a .5 position. However, I would like to point out that in neither of these sections of the contract around ULAs and seniority bumping rights does the language discern whether a teacher is less than a 1.0 FTE. It is not stated in the contract language that there is an exception if their position is a .8 or a .5 or any position less than a 1.0.
Given the time constraints and the number of speakers, I'm going to ask that you wrap up your comments, please.
What is the point of a teacher seniority list and even tenure if the district is not going to honor it? What kind of message is this sending to all Wayzata staff members that have shown loyalty to the Wayzata district their entire career? This is the livelihood of these people. My concern is that Wayzata district is setting an alarming precedent in laying off tenured teachers while keeping probationary staff. It feels like teacher loyalty means nothing and that we are indispensable. Thank you for your time.
Next, Kelly Lima.
Hello, getting my eyes on. My name is Kelly Lima. I'm here to speak in support positively of music education and supporting that in the school district. My daughters are students here in Wayzata, and I'm a professional musician, and I have a degree in music education, and I've been the drumline instructor for the University of Minnesota for 27 years. Sorry, allergies. I've been made aware that Wayzata Public Schools is considering making cuts or has already made cuts to music education throughout the school district. This would be a mistake and a disservice to our students. I appreciate the challenges of balancing a budget for a school district, and I hope that any cuts necessary would be equal across the district and not focused on one department, lessening the enrichment of the students' educational experience. Limiting music education is taking away an opportunity for young people to express themselves in a meaningful and healthy way during a critical time of their development. Apologize. Music is a proven method of engaging the brain simultaneously in many disciplines. Many industries throughout the world, unrelated to music, seek out to employ people with experience in music for their focus and their discipline. The music program itself is a haven for many students who identify with their chosen instrument or voice. And those people may not identify as strongly with other programs. Last one, please. So in that regard, disproportionate cuts in the music department or any school-funded arts program in a way devalues and marginalizes those students. So when you're considering those things, I would like you to think about that. The whole idea of arts education isn't about creating artists, per se, but it is to round out and bring out the best of who they are. So that is why I'm very passionate about promoting arts education. Education in the arts is necessary for us to learn. It may not be mandated by local or national standards, but it is necessary. And I want to repeat it. Education in the arts is necessary. Just so that really hammers home, because this is not to lessen the importance of the other subjects, but music and other forms of art and expression combine all disciplines of learning into a focused endeavor which enhances and strengthens what has been learned. Successful school districts have thriving arts programs which are purposefully supported by those districts. Please maintain and build Wayzata Public Schools music programs with proper funding and talented educators. I welcome any dialogue with board members or anyone in charge of promoting arts in the schools. So please contact me if you want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, next is Margie Scott.
Good evening. I'm Margie Scott, and I am a parent of 4 kids who are all currently enrolled in Wayzata schools. I am also here to talk in support of music education. Last month, Mrs. Kim, a band teacher from Wayzata East Middle School, addressed the school board on behalf of her students to educate us on the importance of musical education. She also taught those of us who are listening from home that decisions over the past 2 budget cycles have resulted in a 40% reduction to our middle school instrumental music staff, significantly altering the opportunities to learn that we expect for our children. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, where I played the violin in our school orchestra from 4th grade to high school and participated in district orchestra, honor orchestra, and played for the Johnstown Youth Symphony Orchestra. I remember orchestra as my safe haven in middle school. In a critical time of development when relationships were dramatic and social politics were all-consuming, music was my sanity. It was an accidental meditative practice that required total concentration and focus, a practice that our children today need more than ever. On a national scale, we talk about the importance of neurodiversity and the mental health of our youth. As Mrs. Kim eloquently illustrated, music is math, science, and language. Music is a physical exercise as well as an exercise in humanity. We cannot afford to cut the only programs in our schools that support development and growth while encouraging depth of feeling and human connection as only music and the arts can. On a local level, we talk about the importance of being known as AAA students, academics, arts, and the athletics. I fear that we are beginning to lose perspective on just how important that second A really is. I had no previous ties to Minnesota, so when my husband and I made our decision to move to the district where we wanted to raise our kids, we chose Wayzata because of the promise of a superior education, including music. I understand that budget cuts are sometimes unavoidable and that music programs cannot be exempt from the budgeting process. However, I would have liked to have been a voice in this process much earlier. Unfortunately, there was no communication from the district about this drastic change impacting staff members whose reach extend beyond just band or orchestra. Understanding that this is not a time for conversation, I look forward to your responses to the following questions. What other district programs are being cut at a 40% rate? As one of the wealthiest school districts in Minnesota, how does this major setback in our instrumental music program stack us against other school districts in the state? Which staff members are being affected by the district's decisions, and are we willing to lose that talent? And why did parents only learn of this pending major change to our children's experience through a guest commentator at a school board meeting? Why has there been no communication from the district? please reconsider the budget for 2023-2024 school year to ensure our music program does not take the brunt of the reductions. Thank you.
Okay. Emily Thiranen, did I say that right? Trinan. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emily Trinan, and my husband, daughter, and I live in Plymouth, and my daughter is a first grader in the Wayzata Public School District. I'm also an associate professor of music and the director of bands at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I've been a music educator for 24 years. I'm also here to speak tonight because I'm deeply concerned about the proposed cuts to the music program and its instruction, specifically in the middle schools. I just learned about this myself recently, as was also articulated by our last speaker. I'm fully aware of budget shortfalls in the district and that the state legislature will complete its budget decisions at the end of this month. I also recognize that difficult cost containment decisions need to be made, yet I'm hopeful that you will reconsider the music instruction reductions within your plan. I'd like to start by acknowledging the wonderful statement from one of your excellent and very committed music teachers, Ms. Sue Kim, from the April 10th board meeting. She beautifully articulated why teaching music is so important. She listed many connections to additional core areas such as science, math, history, language, and physical education. But most importantly, she highlighted the point that music is art. Art, by definition, is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Among many things, art is what makes us more authentic as humans, more sensitive, and more connected to one another and to other cultures. We know that humans start learning how deeply to express creativity and imagination between the ages of 11 and 14, the age of middle school. Reducing artistic opportunities and instruction at this age will significantly hinder students who need this outlet as arguably the most critical time of their lives. Students who are attracted to music don't just want music. Those students need music. They need to express, create, and imagine in ways that only music and art can do. An additional point for your consideration, families who are able to make choices of where they live and where they put their resources often make decisions based on the integrity, reputation, and excellence of the school district. Our family is no exception. We chose to move here because the comprehensive opportunities and thoughtful vision, as is articulated, detailed in the Wayzata Public School website. I'd also like to point out, when I looked at the website, I noticed marketing and images on the Wayzata websites featured students playing instruments, the marching band marching down the street, singing, performing, and theater. It's no secret that theater productions, music concerts, these performances, and other music-related ventures, especially at the high school level, are the most visible public representations of excellence. Those ventures will simply not be possible without a solid foundation, and this begins at the early stages of development. The proposed cuts to music instruction do not align with your district's vision statement that you've posted on the website. They also do not align with national best practices of music education, and thus do not represent a model of excellence. These cuts may also diminish the long-term integrity and reputation of the district. I'm hopeful that you, the board of Wayzata, will make decisions that represent our community and educational values and will maintain that Wayzata is a destination community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And next we have Brenna Backstrand.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Anderson. My name is Brenna Backstrand, and I'm a literacy specialist in the district. I am very proud of my school, and I love working with students and families at Birchview. My fellow educators at Birchview and my principal are all doing amazing work. However, along with many of my fellow educators, I am concerned about the recent decisions that, combined with existing inequities, have negatively impacted students and teachers at Wayzata Elementary Schools and will continue to have adverse consequences for years to come. Before the Cost Containment Committee was convened, certain programs were already insufficiently funded, especially special education and English learners. Due to a scarcity of special ed teachers and paraprofessionals, dysregulated behaviors have been increasing in our elementary classrooms. Also, special ed teachers have not had enough training in literacy, and many do not have enough resources to reasonably meet the students' goals. If more funds are made available by the state, I hope you will consider these needs carefully. The English learner population in Wayzata has nearly tripled in the last 14 years, but funding has not kept pace with this increase. Currently, there are multiple schools in the district with EL teachers who have 60 to 70 students on their caseload. One teacher for 60 to 70 students does not work, especially when many of those students are newcomers who speak no English. EL teachers also do not have adequate resources and training. This makes teachers' jobs difficult and, more importantly, is unfair to the students. In a recent survey of Wayzata community members, what people said they liked most about our schools was the good teachers. I know of many highly qualified master teachers in Wayzata who now feel compelled to look elsewhere for work. Because of recent cost containment decisions, elementary classroom teachers, specialists, and intervention teachers with years of experience and expertise are looking for jobs. One of the cost containment decisions which impacts students most is the increase in class size. When there are 30 students in a primary classroom, teachers have less time to build relationships with their students and families and differentiate for student needs. In addition, when there are several students in the classroom with unmet emotional needs, this can affect students' and teachers' feelings of safety. Another set of cost containment decisions involves intervention programming. At least 7 highly trained math and literacy specialists were cut or moved to positions for which they have no recent experience or training. Many of these professionals have spent 20 years or more teaching in Wayzata public schools. In the case of literacy specialists, teachers were not given any warning that their jobs were in danger. Many literacy specialists hold a master's degree with a K-12 reading endorsement and would make excellent literacy coaches, but the new literacy coach positions were quickly posted and filled before the cuts were made. Another decision which shows a lack of planning, 6 literacy specialists who spent a week being trained in Orton Gillingham in January were cut or moved to other jobs in March. Those dollars were well spent. Julie Schneider provided high-quality training. But unless those literacy specialists are reinstated, that training will no longer benefit Wayzata students. Wayzata has a history of trust and collaboration between teachers and leadership, and we all want this to continue. It's so very important for our students that we have strong relationships. I know that all of you want to honor that commitment to ensure a world-class education for each and every student. We aren't there yet, and I hope you will scrutinize each decision carefully and think about its effect on our students before you vote. Tonight, as you look at decisions regarding human resources, you may want to consider delaying that vote. Thanks for your time.
This is my list of people that had requested to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that is thinking that they would be speaking that I have not called your name? Okay, hearing none, thank you to each of our speakers for joining us this evening. The next item on our agenda are administrative reports, and we'll start with a report from Dr. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and also thanks to all of you who came this evening to address the board and share your insights. And tonight for the superintendent's report, I'm just going to share a few insights and thoughts with you in response to you being here tonight and sharing your thoughts on our cost containment and how we best move forward with preparing our budget. So I have a few things here. Some of you have heard me share this. If you're a staff member and you were at the meetings where we went out to the buildings to explain our current situation and how we're moving forward, it might sound a little bit repetitive. Others may have seen or heard some of this on YouTube tapes from our previous work sessions and board meetings, but I think it's important just to at least share a little bit. But I'd like to just start out by saying my wife and I are proud parents of 2 Wayzata High School graduates, and both have gone on and they're currently responsible tax-paying citizens. I think all of those things are true for them. So, and in a few short weeks, I'll be finishing up my 15th year in this role of superintendent. And I only share that because I share your deep interest, concern, and focus on ensuring that Wayzata Public Schools continues to thrive. And I know 15 years pales in comparison as I look here in the crowd with some teachers and staff who have been here longer than that. But I just want to share with you that I feel, as do many of our staff members, all of our staff members that are here with us this evening as well, a deep commitment to working really hard to ensure that we land in the best possible place that we can. Some of the challenges that we've been facing, I mean, it can go without saying almost that the last 3 years have probably been the most challenging years, 3 consecutive, that any educator has probably had, myself included in the near completion of 40 here in a few weeks. It's been very difficult. We're in this financial situation really for 3 key reasons, probably others as well, but the pandemic certainly was the start of it 3 years ago. We lost a number of students, there were additional costs, and we really entered into that without a real clear script. So that kind of got us started. We've had unprecedented inflation. Well, maybe not unprecedented, but it's been decades since we've had inflationary impact like we currently have. And for decades, Minnesota state legislatures have underfunded education, and the cumulative impact of that has been very challenging. Our school district, because we have been growing, even though we've maybe averaged about 2% increases on the formula with the 3% inflationary cost, because we were growing, we had a little bit of acceleration, and our new and additional students kind of helped us offset that 1% gap between inflation and the increases to the formula. So really the inadequate funding falls in 2 main categories, the general education formula and the reimbursements for special education and EL, or English learner services. So the impact over the years has just really been a challenge. So the legislative session, as probably most of you are aware, is currently in session, and it ends, or scheduled to end on May 22nd. Many years, we know they have that target date, and in the back of our minds, we're pretty sure that they won't achieve that, and they'll have to schedule a special session. That's one thing maybe I'm holding on to some optimism about, along with some other things, but the main thing is I do think that they will probably finish on time this year. I hate to say that, certainly a promise that I can't make and that perhaps they'll be able to keep, but it seems like they're on track to hopefully finish up on May 22nd. We built all of our budget projections very conservatively on a 2% increase on the formula, and no additional monies that are going to come to the district from special education reimbursements. So that's based on everything that we've been hearing is a relatively conservative number, but we felt in order to ensure that we can bring forth a balanced budget and ensure the longer-term sustainability and viability, financial standing of the school district, to make not only decisions for the short term, but that we also think will position us for the long term. I think it'll be better than 2 and 2. However, the thing that we don't have a lot of knowledge about is what will the new unfunded mandates be. Even if we get some of the packages that the governor proposed, a 4% increase in year 1, a 2% increase in year 2. We've heard other numbers of 4% and 4%, 5% and 5%. And then also added to that up to about a 50% to fund 50% of that unfunded special education cost to school districts. And that's oftentimes, you may have heard the term, the cross subsidy, which is the shortfall within the state. It's about $800 million statewide for unfunded services for special education. And the governor and all of the packages are including additional funding. So currently we get about a 50% reimbursement back from the state, and the proposals generally are around increasing that to 75%. So that would be huge for the school district if that were to happen. That would be very helpful and position us in a way that would be, allow us to reconsider some of those budget decisions that we've made. Over the past 20 or so years where I've been more closely tracking increases to the state formula. We've had bienniums that were funded at 2% each year. We're currently in kind of that 2 and 2 range for this school year and last. We've had years where it was increased by 1 and 1, and we've had years that were 0 and 0, and surprisingly, quite a few of those. All that while our inflationary rates have been at a minimum of about 3%. In the current year, they're about 8 to 10%. Some of the costs we incurred were a 13% increase in our transportation, and the general inflationary numbers are quite high as well. So there is reason for optimism. Some of the numbers that we're hearing about are encouraging, but we won't know for sure where this will all land until the end of the day, oftentimes close to midnight on May 22nd. And as I said before, we're concerned about some of the unfunded mandates that might become part of the package as well. In other words, new costs that won't necessarily keep that new money on the formula and the special education increase reimbursements available for district discretion. It'll have to be utilized for some new directives. So again, we're very happy about that. We have been engaging with we're happy about the numbers we're hearing, but a lot of uncertainties. We've been engaging with legislators regularly. Several of our board members have met with them personally at their offices and shared our story and our concerns and provided them with our inputs. I personally have sent a number of emails to each of them. I'm hoping that all those who spoke this evening and maybe others in the room have reached out to legislators or connected with professional organizations that you may be associated with. They have indicated that they've been hearing from Wayzata teachers and other staff, and we appreciate that. I have really been trying to reinforce what our school district's needs are and the fact that this is real. The shortfalls caused by the pandemic, the inadequate funding for decades, and the inflationary costs cumulatively have had a huge impact, not only on our organization, but all public schools and other types of organizations as well. We, by law, have to submit a balanced budget to the school board by no later than June 30th. So by July 1, the first day of the new fiscal year, the school board has to have an approved budget. So some have asked, I might have heard the question tonight, but along the way, why don't you wait and see what the legislature does? Well, we've had some years where it's been mid-June before we even knew where they are if they've gone into special sessions. So we have to plan well in advance. And as I said before, we do so conservatively because we really have to in order to not be caught in a position where we're so far down the track that we can't provide a balanced budget with the new revenues that we're going to be receiving for the next 2 years. So in alternating years in public schools in Minnesota, we have to plan mostly all of our expenditures before we know what our revenues are going to be, which is a really challenging set of circumstances. Because the legislature approves a 2-year budget, in that first year, we start July 1, and they oftentimes don't finish their work until, best case scenario, 3rd week in May, but oftentimes mid to later June. So we really are in a position to scramble. So we have to get out in advance of that and begin putting together our budget. So, and as I said before, we work hard to plan a 1 and 2 year budget. We also have to think in terms of what decisions do we make today that will position us well for 5 or 10 years down the road. We want to keep all of those things that individuals spoke about tonight. Those are values of ours. When the dust settles here in a couple of weeks, we're going to take a look at where did we land, what new expenditures got snuck in or included in the package that are going to cost from our checking account and will be potentially unfunded, and we'll make determinations on what all of those things might be collectively so we know where our revenues are, and then we'll be in a position to take a look at decisions that were made and what modifications might we be able to make prior to the start of the school year. So I just want to say that I really appreciate that you're here tonight. I really do appreciate it. My family has felt the significance and importance that this community places on education. And in my role, I hope that you would be glad to know that I haven't taken that lightly for a decade and a half. And we've worked really hard as a team, not only my team that's here tonight, but our larger leadership team, all of our teachers and our staff, and we've really worked hard to try to make the best decisions that we could. It's very complicated, and we've been through 3 years that have been even more complicated. So anyway, I've probably droned on longer than I should have, but I just really felt a need to share some of those insights with you, to not to excuse make. You know, I understand my role as the superintendent in a school district, and sometimes we can sort of become the lightning rod, and I get that, and I accept that as part of the role. But please just know that we're going to continue working really hard to try to land in the best possible place that we can on September 1st. As a resident and a former dad in the district of kids, it's a high value for me too. We don't take that lightly, and we will work hard to do our very best. So thank you for allowing me that time.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. We have one more item under superintendent reports, and I will pass it over to Dr. Flansburgh to talk about some policies.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, members of the board. Attached for review are the following policies and regulations for your consideration. The policies and regulations were reviewed as part of the regular review cycle and using the Minnesota School Board Association model policy when available, by district administration and other district stakeholders where necessary. A final review was completed by the policy committee of the board. The policies before you this evening include 711, audio, video recording on school buses, Policy 725 and 727, transportation of non-public school students and district-owned and leased vehicles. Please note, these were divided from policies and added into regulations as well. And the sunsetting of one policy, 726, student transportation management services. This has been combined with policy 725.
Okay, thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the above policies, which are 711, 725, 727, and the sunset of 726 as presented in the attachment. Is there a motion to that effect?
Madam Chair, I move that we waive the first reading of the policies and approve them for second and final approval.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Thank you to the policy committee and to our administrators and administrative support for looking through, and our policy process always matches with statute and practice and looks at our current behavior. So thank you to everyone for doing the work behind the scenes that looks like a quick vote in the room. So this is a straight line vote. So the recommended action, all in favor of approving the recommended action, which is the approval of policies 711, 725, 727, and the sunsetting of 726 to waive the first reading and approve for final approval. Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Abstention. We have some updated policies. Thank you so much. Next on our agenda are from Finance and Operations, and so I'll turn it over to Dee Dee Caring, our Executive Director of Finance and Operations.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson. Before you tonight is the financial reports for the month ending March 31st, 2023, and these reports are looking at the actual expenses compared to the budget. First of all, in the statement of revenue analysis, reflects the revenue received by the month and noted above by the year. Property tax revenues are close in line with prior years along with state aids. As pointed out in prior reporting months, deviations in revenue from prior years include federal aids and miscellaneous local revenue. And then the district continues to see numbers more in line with pre-pandemic times as it relates to the fees the district collects for sports and athletics. And this would be a similar story for community education and food service. Their numbers are related to the before and after childcare programs for community ed and then our meals program. On the statement of expenditures, the analysis of the expenditure reflects the actual expenditures and doesn't include any outstanding encumbrances. As you can see from the statement of expenditures, the overall expenditures are similar in several prior years, especially as it relates to salaries and benefits compared to the budget. Combining factors factoring in the revision of the budget that you approved earlier. Additionally, purchase services are up over the last fiscal year percentage-wise due to the timing of some of the transportation payments and other expenditures where payment timing can vary. The variation in capital expenditures from prior year was driven mainly by more projects being conducted in the prior fiscal years, along with the timing of purchases in the current year. That is the end of my report. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. There's no board action required for this report, but are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, thank you to the Finance Committee for working along with Finance and Operations to understand and prepare the details. And you have one more, I think.
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Anderson. Before you is a request to approve the Intermediate School District 287 long-term facility maintenance for fiscal year 2025. The 2015 legislative session established the long-term facility maintenance revenue program for school districts, replacing the health and safety deferred maintenance revenue and alternative facilities bonding and levying programs, beginning with fiscal year 2017. Annually, Intermediate School District 287, which we are a member of, must have a 10-year capital plan adopted by all of its boards and by its board and each member district school board. Details of the plan were provided to the district finance department for review. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the Intermediate School District 287 Long-Term Facilities Maintenance Capital Expenditure Plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2034 and adopt the resolution affirming Wayzata Public Schools' portion of the FY 2024-25 expenditures in the amount of $101,503.41. Is there a motion to that effect?
Madam Chair, I would like to make that motion, and can we please waive the reading of the resolution?
Right. Is there? And there's a
Second.
And there's a second by Bonita. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I just would like to add, as our board representative to District 287, this process of getting it approved by our board, made up of a variety of people, and then going out to 8 or more member districts and having each one of their school boards approve the process as well, which is the extending of taxpayer dollars and district dollars, serving, of course, our students as we are members and have students there. It is quite a process, and so I will just say on behalf of that board and that administrative team that the expenditures of the funds is not taken lightly, and they work in alignment with our commitment to fiscal conservatively. So, hearing that, no other discussion. It's a resolution, so it's a roll call vote.
Bonita Lucky, yes. Cheryl Poseen,
Yes.
Milan Sahoni,
Yes.
Linda Cohen,
Yes.
Sheila Pryor,
Yes.
Heidi Cater,
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will move on to some human resources recommendations. So I'll turn it over to Stacy Voss.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson. I bring before you this evening the annual resolution regarding the termination and non-renewal of teaching contracts. The administration recommends the adoption of the attached resolution for the non-renewal of the teaching contracts of the probationary teachers listed before you.
Okay. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to adopt the resolution related to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contracts of the named probationary teachers, which is contained in your board packet. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move and waive the reading.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to adopt the resolution related to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of the named probationary teachers, and it's a roll call vote.
Linda Cohen,
Yes.
Sheila Pryor,
Yes.
Cheryl Poseen,
Yes.
Heidi Cater, Milan Sahoni,
Yes.
Bonita Lucky, yes. Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. There's one more.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson, I also bring before you this evening the resolution regarding unrequested leave of absence. The administration recommends the adoption of the attached resolution for unrequested leave of absence of the before you listed identified staff in accordance with the 2021-2023 master contract between the district and the Wayzata Education Association, also in accordance with the Minnesota statute, section 122A.40, subdivision 10. Please note that there is a list of full unrequested leave of absent teachers before you, and then a partial unrequested leave of absence list. The partial leave of absence list means we were able to fulfill part of the teacher's FTE, but not the entire contracted amount.
Colleagues, the recommended action is to adopt the resolution relating to the unrequested leave of absence of the staff members who have been identified in your board packet and are before you. Is there a motion to that effect?
I would,
No, not until it's been moved and seconded.
I would move that and ask we waive the reading of the resolution.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now is time for discussion. Mr. Sahoni.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So voting on a resolution to eliminate jobs in the school district is probably by far the hardest decision a school board member has to make. This one is no exception. Cost containment is a bitter pill to swallow, and I empathize with those affected and their families. I'm hoping that when the legislative session is over, like Dr. Anderson said, the legislature will send some money our way. When that happens, along with saving some jobs, I hope the issue of class sizes, musical programs, and others will also be addressed, although I understand that nothing is guaranteed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'd like to make. This is tough, just like Dr. Sahoni said. Our role is to create the conditions that allow our educators to do the best for our students. And so we have to create those conditions. And so I appreciate, Dr. Anderson, your comments on, all the difficulty that we're going through, that we want to make sure that everything is properly funded. And when we get our funding on May 22nd, I'm hopeful that we will also be able to address many of these issues. But again, nothing is guaranteed. And so thank you to our administration for presenting us and doing your job, for presenting us with a balanced budget. And we'll just keep moving forward until May 22nd. So thank you.
Comments? Other comments? It's a roll call vote.
Milan Sahoni.
Yes.
Linda Cohen.
Yes.
Sheila Pryor.
Yes.
Cheryl Poseen.
Yes.
Heidi Cater.
Yes.
Bonita Lucky. Yes. Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Okay. And that is the conclusion of the HR reports and recommendations. We will now move to, there's no other board action. We do have a couple board reports this evening. I have a few people that notified me, so I will start with that. And then if anyone else wants to add, the first is Sheila Pryor.
Thank you, Sarah. I wanted to let everybody know about a fundraiser from the Wayzata Education Fund going on this month. It's called Highlight a Hero. If you're not aware of the Wayzata Education Fund, it's a volunteer parent-led organization that provides grants for innovative curricular ideas across the Wayzata School District. The Education Fund is kicking off the spring drive with a major change. Formerly, the Highlight a Hero was called Thank a Teacher. Why the change? The community spoke and they listened. They heard feedback that we have so many amazing teachers and staff that are heroes in multiple roles at Wayzata schools. Highlight a Hero allows families and community members to honor teachers and staff throughout Wayzata Public Schools who have made an impact on their child and family while making a donation to the Wayzata Education Fund's curricular grant program. Let's see. When you donate to highlight your Wayzata Public Schools hero, your recipient will be presented with a certificate of appreciation with your student's name included. Each donation of $25 or more per recipient will include a buntlet, which is a bunt cake by Nothing Bunt Cakes. Let's see. The time frame for this, it started on May 1st and it's going through May 29th. If you would like to make a donation, you can go to the Wayzata Education Fund website, which is wayzataedfund.org. Thank you.
Heidi.
Yes. So we had the opportunity as a school board, we were invited by Fusion, which is a group at the high school that is a collection of many of the student organizations. We had an opportunity to meet with them as a school board and to engage with them, to learn what they're up to these days, and to give them an update on what we're up to as well. It was a really, really engaging morning. It's always fun to be able to go to school in the morning as an adult. And so it was nice to be there, and we're really appreciative of every time that the student council or Fusion or anybody at the high school and any one of our schools offers us an invitation to come join them.
Thank you. Cheryl.
So I just wanted to say that the high school is having their annual, actually, I think they have it twice a year, blood drive. It's this Friday, and I think Heidi and I for sure am going to give blood, so you're all invited. Anybody else that would like to join. It's a great opportunity to see all the kids donating blood, and it's just really energizing. So, thank you.
Okay, that concludes those that had signed up. Anything else? I'm just going to share one. There is this Saturday from 9 to noon, there's a community collaboration around mental health. This is sponsored by NAMI and will include, it says, learn about mental illness and the impact of negative attitudes and 5 things each of us can do to make Minnesota a better place for people who experience mental illness. There'll be some opening remarks. There'll be some learning around creating caring communities. There'll also be a panel discussion in which Eric Fedden, our Director of Public Safety for the City of Plymouth, will be speaking, as well as the Clinical Director of Office Services for Relate Counseling Center, which is one of the district's mental health partners, a Program Director from Interfaith Outreach, and the Community Outreach Coordinator for NAMI. So that information has been distributed, and wanted to make sure that our community was aware. Hearing no other board reports, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor of adjourning this board meeting on Monday, May 8th, 2023, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The Wayzata Public Schools Board of Education regular school board meeting for Monday, May 8th, 2023 is adjourned.